Everyone clap then.
I clapped.
All right, now we gotta shut the fuck up.
Shh. Do you hear that? Wait, no, do you hear that?
Hear what?
The start of the Vernacular Podcast. Welcome back, guys. And we're here for episode 4. If you haven't been watching, you're a loser and get out of here. We don't want your business. With me today, shut up, Logan. With me today, I got my two fabulous co-stars. We got me, myself, Rico, and we got whoever wants to introduce themselves next.
Hi, I'm Mr. Talks a Lot.
I knew he was mad.
I'm not mad.
I'm not mad. Where's Amber?
Bro, I'm gonna shut your mouth. You're gonna get someone actually mad,
Good.
alright?
Ooh.
I'm in that kind of mood today.
I can tell.
It's
Big mood.
Are you going to introduce yourself, or are you just going to keep talking?
I'm just gonna keep talking. I'm here. They know who I am.
Do they?
Damn, presumptuous.
Egotistical. I'm that dude. I'm that jackass.
Egotistical.
Why did you invite
Egotistical.
him to do this?
I don't know.
Fuck if I know, man.
I mean, I can leave. I mean,
Good, go, leave.
I mean, it's preferable.
all right.
Have you seen that? Okay, I'm not going to lie. But I was just, you know how you're on YouTube sometimes, and you're just kind of browsing around, and like something comes up, and you're like, hey, that looks interesting. Why not? So you just click on it? You ever do that?
No.
Yeah, yeah. That happens to me. Like that's all I do.
So then, cool. I'm not alone. So I was just scrolling through YouTube,
Great.
and this like Simon Cowell compilation came up where he was like
Oh
just
dear Lord.
so rude to everybody, and like there was this one chick, and she was like, I have a degree in vocal performance. If you think you're so good, can you give me some tips? What can I do to make it better? And he just looks at her dead in the face, just goes, leave. I was like, oh, Christ. Whew. You, sir,
Jesus.
have a crumpet up his arse. His arse.
Wow, great transition from ass to airs.
Yeah.
Really good.
Arse.
Beat your arse.
Airs.
Alright. So, over the past weekend, we collectively, not together, unfortunately. I wanted to cuddle. They didn't. It was a whole thing. But we went on Netflix and we found this new show that came out recently. It was called
Hunter, are you
We?
okay?
We?
Alright. Hunter found a new show that we all started
Thank you.
watching.
Oh, please stop. It's too much.
You narcissist.
Hold up, let me at least explain how I let you know, because it's like this.
I don't
most,
even remember how you
like,
let me know.
I'll let you know how I let you know, is that I was on the 4th episode called Suits, and we'll get to all the episodes, but I paused the episode right in the middle because
You had to rub a fat one off.
Yeah, I was smiling and laughing the whole time because I'm like, this is amazing. Oh my god. Picked up my phone and called up my boy Rico. He was in a car.
No.
And he was like, what are you calling me for? Well, you were. Yeah, you were. You said you were in a car.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're right.
So I called him up and I said, what are you doing right now? He's like, in a car. And I said, okay, cool. When are you not going to be in a car? And he goes, I don't know, in a few minutes. So I'm like, all right, cool. Are you going to be able to be around like a thing that has Netflix that you would like to sit down at? And he's like, yeah, probably. And I said, you need to watch Love, Death, and Robots because it's amazing. And he goes, all right, I'll check it out. And then he calls me up like an hour or two later, like, okay, I see what you mean.
No.
And then that's when
what did I actually say?
What? Oh, I don't fucking remember what you
So
said.
what the hell was that?
Oh, that's right. You were like, what the fuck? Because you watched the first episode.
And
The first
anybody who
episode
watches the
was
first
wild.
episode, it has the exact same reaction I did.
That's incorrect. I didn't.
That's because you're not normal.
I sat there smiling like, that was awesome!
That was
Like,
not-
that was really cool!
That
was
was
not.
awesome. That was amazing. That first episode.
Rico, you're the weirdo here. That wasn't it? Okay, we'll
Alright,
get to the
alright.
ratings. We'll
How
get
about
to
this?
everything like
To
that.
anybody who watches the first episode, leave in the comments if
It's
if
going
it
to
if
blow
it
their
freaked
mind.
you out or not, because it freaked the life out of me.
Well, that's the point. It's horror. It's horror and suspense and
The only part where
Stuff like
it
that.
freaked me out and left my jaw just dropped was when she smashed
Shut up.
well, yeah, that's the big moment.
like a melon. I was
But
just like, what?
For me, it was when she started laughing. I was like, I got that whole like.
That was creepy.
What's his face? Yeah, like like that whole Twitter gif. Oh, what's his fuck? Birdman with, like rubbing his hands together, like going towards the camera, like let's fucking go, yeah. Like, I was like, oh yeah, let's go, baby. And then she started laughing, and I was like, and then it slowly, like once she got over the calm, I was like, oh shit, I know what this means. And then the fucking thing comes out.
I fight for my life.
Yeah, exactly. So.
The ending to that, I didn't actually like. Was she the monster or like what was I?
No,
I didn't...
what it was is that okay. I guess we're into this now. So we'll get into it. So let's start off the segment. So I guess the way we're gonna do this
It's
is
probably going to be a
I've got
majority
lists-
of the podcast today.
It's gonna be a majority.
Yeah, because we really want to talk about this. It's really interesting. And also, if you don't know or haven't watched the show, I need you to pause the podcast, go watch the show, and then come back and then listen.
Go
to it.
watch Love, Death,
fucking
and
simple.
Robots right now.
It's on Netflix. It's 18 episodes.
and if you don't have
They're
Netflix, you're
it's kind of
poor,
like a
so you should feel bad about
anthology
yourself.
series. We all listen. We're all humans here. We all know you sit there and watch fucking Office reruns on Netflix. We all know you do that. So just take a break from The Office and go watch Love, Death, and Robots. It's good.
It's amazing.
It's good, you big moron. All right, so we're gonna go through the episodes. I have the episodes up here right now. I don't know if Rico does.
Well,
we might
that's the thing.
flip
They're all
back and forth.
different. Oh, you. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Every episode.
It's kind of
It's
like
like
a
a-
Black Mirror or Twilight Zone type
Exactly.
show.
It's like
Exactly. And I have some thoughts between this and Black Mirror at the very end, but what we're gonna do is kind of flip back and forth between each episode. Each person is gonna read the title and then read kind of the summary on Netflix that what it gives, and then we'll go into spoiler talk and talk about our ratings and how we kind of felt about the episode and why we gave it the rating we gave it. Anyway, enough of that boring stuff. We'll actually get into it. So I guess I'll start off with the first episode, Sunny's Edge. The description is wow, I already fucked it up. In the underground world of beastie fighting, Sunny is
Beastie fighting.
unbeatable as long as she keeps her edge. That's the description. So, I guess, like, this is how I've been describing this episode for everybody. It's just basically R-rated Pokemon.
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much.
I mean, pretty much. It's just like, it's like dog fighting, but with big angry monsters.
Yeah, it's basic. It was Pokemon with kaiju.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I first.
It
saw
was
I
it was
like,
Pokemon with kaiju.
This is exactly like Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
except it's
But, like,
just
especially the
monsters
one
and
chick's
not the
monster.
lazy writing.
The one girl's
What
monster like
consolate
really
their
reminded me of like a
apocalypse?
Pacific Rim, like type
Right.
beast.
That whole scene with the fighting, which was the majority of the episode, was like, and that I have no problem with that because it was so well done. Like their fighting made sense. Like it wasn't just like we're knights and we sword fight and fencing, so we're just gonna clang our swords together and then eventually poke one another. It's like, what's the point of clanging the swords together? You got when you or you know what I mean? And it's mostly like that in media and shit like that.
Right.
So when something like that fights, they were brutal, man.
Right, yeah,
Like,
it was
she
gory.
came with the claws and like ripping at his esophagus and shit like
He came
that.
with
It
the
was like,
38.
wow.
He leaving with a body.
Exactly.
And then the end where like you thought, she was dead, and then she just dives her head right into his chest.
You can't even tell me that you
That
weren't
was-
giggling a little bit because it looked like she was enjoying like every second of being shanked.
What are you talking
Just
about? What
a-
the fuck?
What do you?
The
what?
look on the monster, like it had its head back and it was like.
Because it had like.
Oh no! I get what you're saying, Rico. No. I get what he's saying.
I understand what you're
There you
saying,
go,
but what
there
the
you go.
fuck?
Because when I was watching that too, I was like, is this supposed to be taken as like sexual or? Because like,
Oh, see, I see what you're saying.
because
but for
the way
me,
the
what I saw-
monster
I
was like moving and everything, I was like, this is oddly
Right.
sexual for some reason.
right, like they're pinned up against the wall, and it shows the back end of the big guy. And
Yeah,
he puts his arm on the
And then
wall.
you
exactly.
found
I
out
see
that it
what
was
you're
just a
saying,
whole
but
Me
for me, I
Too
saw that-
movement, and it was just like, did he
No,
ever pin you up
no.
against the
Rico.
wall?
Yes. Hold on, listen. This is what I think this means. I think that it was supposed to kind of draw a parallel to the explanation that she was raped. I think that was sort of like also a little bit of imagery
Yeah,
of that.
so
like,
Me Too.
at the
Hashtag
very
Me
end,
Too.
when she,
Let's
yeah,
get a
she's,
hashtag in Me
defeated
Too in
up
chat.
against the wall by a big dude who's like up against her. It looks weird.
Let's have a hashtag Me Too against in the chat. Let's get that going.
Let's just not involve that.
No, let's get it.
Please. Anyway, so the end of the episode is really cool because the whole time it's built up like, oh, this big guy in a suit, like who runs the arena, is telling her to throw the fight, but she can't because the dude, like, I never really got this because it never really explicitly says it, but like when they're saying, oh, she's getting revenge on the guys who hurt her, was that guy that she was fighting like supposed to be one of the guys that?
I
Monster?
don't think so. I think it was just
there's also that
all
part when he
men
came
are
out-
animals.
I didn't get that. I mean, like, I get that, but like, I didn't get that was her MO. It was the MO of going through, because she said, like, I remember her saying that she attended, like, the whole point was she attended a fight, and then a group of those guys who do the monster fighting pinned her up and raped her, and then eventually you find out they broke her skull. So, but so then, but yeah, So I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. I don't think it really matters. It never is really fully, because she doesn't like. I mean, if she's getting revenge on the guys that hurt her, I mean, it doesn't look like just killing his monster was really that
Yeah.
big of a blow. Like I would imagine she would want to kill him, other than something like that.
Well,
Like,
maybe
she just kills the monster.
maybe the men that hurt her was referring to like the boss type character that
That's possible.
At
He
the
definitely seemed
end,
kind of scummy like
yeah,
that.
at the end of the episode.
Yeah, but the end of the episode is that his assistant lures her into a room and they start having the big
Lesbian
old makeout
time.
session.
Yeah,
Big old lesbo time.
that threw me off for a second. I was just like, wait,
So
what? Okay,
did-
this is happening.
That threw you off? That's the part that threw you
Yes,
off?
because it just like I don't know. I felt like it came out of nowhere for me. I was just like, all
That's
right.
what came out of
It
nowhere
was a
for
little
you?
abrupt, and it was a little abrupt. But I get
Which,
yeah.
which I
But
understand
I can still see it happen.
because it's like a short film, so stuff like
Right.
that's gonna feel
And then-
a little forced.
All right, and at the very end, boom, she's Wolverine. What the fuck?
That's
has
the part
Wolverine
that got
claws
me.
that come out.
That happened, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, that was definitely like
Mm-mm,
that was
no.
a move I straight up saw Wolverine do in Logan. Like he did that shit. He was like, boom.
No.
And then also I never picked this up on my first watch, but like on the second time I saw it, I'm like, it didn't click for me. But that would instantly kill a
Yep.
person. So, like at the first time, it didn't surprise me that she didn't die from that immediate boom. It didn't surprise me. I was like, oh my god, she's suffering, she's dying, whoa. But it was never like on that second watch through. I was like, wait, what the fuck? She would be dead. But then, obviously, I already knew the outcome. After that, the lady stomps her skull
With her
in,
heel,
and she
with her
and
stiletto.
with her stiletto, and
There's
full
no
Glenn
better
from
feeling
Walking
than killing
Dead
the enemy.
treatment. Exactly. Full Glenn moment. She's got her eye dangling out of her head, and she's just mush. But she's still conscious and laughing, and they're like, "What are you?" And then there's like, she starts laughing. She's like, "Do you want to know my edge?" And then
You wanna
there's an
know
intercom
my
behind
edge.
them. Yeah, there's an intercom behind them, and her voice comes through it. And they're like, my edge, yeah. And she explains, oh yeah, well, they were raping me. They broke my fucking skull. They saved my body, but they had to put my brain somewhere. So they just kind of uploaded it. And so I'm basically an android. So that's what I kind of got from that. She's got like a robo brain,
Robo
processing
bitch.
chips and shit in her brain. but her body's natural, so she can kind of control it.
All natural.
And then she just, she has like a Bluetooth connection to the speakers, and then after that she gets a Bluetooth connection right into the monster,
Hey, fam.
who then breaks out, who stabs the monster tail through the chick's head, and then wraps the dude up, and then ends with her going, "Are you scared now?" It's like, ah!
Hey, bro, pass the aux cord. Nah,
Yeah,
we got
hey,
that
B.
Bluetooth connection.
Yeah, don't play no shit. So I guess we can go to the ratings now. I gave this. I'll give you my rating, and I'll tell you why, and then I'll let you guys go. So for Sunny's Edge, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10 because it exudes all of the, like, especially looking back after watching everything, it just exudes the whole, like, vibe of the show. It's got the scary realisticness, and, like, it's got, because that's the whole. Also, this is kind of something we never did really fucking point out. It's animated.
Oh yeah,
Basically, the whole
pretty
show
much
is
the whole thing, except for
animated
2 episodes,
computer animation.
I think.
Each episode is.
It is.
Each episode
if like to visualize it, it's like the live action Final Fantasy movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of animation.
Right. So, I thought that and that's kind of the whole point of the series, was that, it's adult animation.
It sure was.
It's very adult.
Yeah, adult animated. So I thought it exuded that adult animation vibe. It exudes. It just is so put together, and it's only 17 minutes, and it feels like it could be like a full 2-hour-long movie. I want to see a movie of this whole thing. I know. I wanted to see more of it, and like that added a point, because like the rating system I made was like, okay, every episode starts as a 5 and either loses points or gains points for every little thing I like. I'm like, that adds a point, that adds a point. So for just everything it got up there, and it just wasn't a full 10. I'm not 100% sure why, but for I just wanted more. Like, it could so easily be a 10 if it was like an hour. Like, if it was 2 hours long, if this was a 2-hour-long movie, it would probably be my favorite movie ever, because this movie is just awesome. And it's like, I want to see more of those animals, like the beasts fighting. The choreography of the fight, thank you, is just so perfect. Like, when he like punches her up and she starts running across like the side of the thing, like with audience members like right there with her like knife blades going right past her face. It's like, I want to live in that world so bad. So I get her 9.5. That's my rating. I love that. I want it more. You guys go ahead.
I would give it I'd probably give it a 9. Yeah. I mean, the animation for this whole series is incredible. It's like,
yeah, it's
breathtaking tier, because it looks, you really, like, there were a couple episodes that I watched that I was just like, is this like animated or real? Like, the people,
the episode I just watched before we started, there were some points where I was just like, this is too good to be true. Like, this has to be live action.
Yeah, it was just like, wow, incredible. As for the story, I liked. Yeah, shut up, Logan.
I guess my rating doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. As for like the story and everything, I definitely think it was well written and thought out. To have it come like full circle and like really kind of show what she meant by, or what, not what she meant, but like what lengths she would go to justify herself, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I give it a 9.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9. For the first episode, it was just a hell of a way to kick off.
Right, really. Talk about putting your best foot
forward.
Right. Alright, so I don't know, Rick,
I'll go next. So the second one that came up for me was, I believe, Beyond the Aquila Rift. And the summary for this one is: awakening after traveling light years off course, a ship's crew struggles to discover just how far they've come.
This one.
Wow, this one is incredible. The animation.
Also, just real quick,
I think
I
I'm-
want to add.
Go ahead, Roger.
Real quick, I just want to add this one currently with an 8.6, I believe, is the highest rated episode on IMDb.
And it's 16 minutes long, so only a minute shorter than Sunny's Edge, which I mean feels longer. It really does. It feels like a half hour like skit. Well, not skit, but like short film, I guess. But man, the animation right off the bat is incredible. This is one of the ones where I thought, wow, is this live action?
There's points where she is talking to him, like while they're having drinks, and the lighting just makes it look like it's real. Like,
yeah,
it's mind blowing how good this is.
It's incredible. But
But
basically, it shows. To summarize the episode, I guess it circles around this crew who you only see three of the crew, but I'm pretty sure there's more, and it kind of gives off this little like Alien Covenant kind of feel, at least it did for me. So they're preparing for this. They're going down for like the long nap, and then they wake up, and realize they're like so far off course. They have no idea where they are. So the main guy, Tom, wakes up and tries to figure out what's going on, and I can't remember the name of the girl. What's her name? Greta. Right. So he clearly knows who this Greta character is, and she's part of this intergalactic army, I'm guessing, that kind of rescues ships or...
I don't think it was that.
They showed up at this outpost, and they were kind of there, and she was the main person. She was the main person there, and
she seemed like the captain
Tom.
or leader.
Yeah. And so they're trying to figure out what's going on. They find out that they're way off course, way off course, and they have the sex at times, and like twice, and that's like a solid 2 minutes. So good for Tom. Then after that, they go back and they try to wake up the rest of the crew. And the one, I keep forgetting the characters' names. There's just so many. What was the one chick who he was like traveling with?
I forget
It's
her
not
name.
important.
Yeah,
Okay.
Did she?
Well, she
had a
wakes
name,
up.
but
Yeah, she had a name. I just don't remember it. Well, she wakes up and sees Greta, and immediately is just kind of like, that is not Greta at all.
well, the first time she wakes up,
right.
she's just like confused, and then the second time is when she's like, look at her, like that's not who you think it is.
I'm gonna say that I hated that chick. Like I don't. She was just annoying to me. That was, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not enjoy.
But so, like Logan said, she wakes up the first time. She's confused. She's dazed. She doesn't feel good. So they put her back under, while Tom and Greta figure everything out. When they wake her up the second time, she's like freaking out. She talks about this really bad dream she had. She doesn't go into description, but she looks at Greta after talking about it and is like, that's not Greta at all. Like, you look at her, it's not Greta. She's talking to Tom, and there's altercation. She scratches Greta with a weapon and whatnot, and she starts bleeding. Not bad, it's just like a little cut. And they put her back down. And then later, Tom and Greta are, I'm assuming they had the sexy time again. And they're laying in bed, and Tom's looking at Greta and like notices that the cut isn't on her neck anymore. And this is probably like not even hours past. but there's like no sign of the cut, and he just looks at her and he's like, "You're not Greta, so who are you?" And it turns out that they traveled so far that there really wasn't an outpost. There was this like alien.
No, they're at the outpost.
Is that
It
the
was
outpost?
just they went like what was it, 105 years in the future?
Oh.
Or,
No.
not they didn't go in the future, but they were like
They went like
in cryo
right.
sleep or whatever
What it
for
was
105
is
years.
this? They made it to the outpost, but they never woke up because
Mhm.
there was. Rico, you want to tell them what was there?
Spider bitch.
Spider bitch.
Spider bitch.
That scene, I did really
Tom.
like that
Hello,
scene
Tom.
where he wakes up and he's just
It-
completely.
Was it okay? Was it just me, or did
Right.
you get the sense were you just like, oh, he's in hell?
Yes.
Yes, that's the immediate thought I had. I was like, oh my god, it's a
And what,
hell.
Yeah,
what
I
gave
thought
you,
it was
what
like a
gave you that
doom.
idea?
I
Was
thought
it
it-
the
I-
look? Was it his face, or was it the lighting? Or
It was.
what?
It was his face because he immediately there was a parallel I drew between him and Jesus because he looked identical.
Yeah.
He had the long hair, long beard, and he was emaciated to all hell. And then also when it was red, and the noises were like full like bassy, like it was like I thought it was like full demons. And then it turns around, and then like even when he turns around, it's like even all the like the little like strand like flesh strand shit. I thought it was like full devil thing. And then right as he looked over, he saw the spider bitch come out, and then also like you think it's like boobs, arms, legs, head, but when you come further, the boobs turn into like the eyes, the spider
It's
eyes,
disturbing.
and then like
It really
full like contorted like necromorph from Dead Space, and I'm like right then I'm like, oh no, she's like Flood from Halo.
Mhm.
Like I got it, like I get what's happening right now. And then he screams, and then boom, he's back in.
And it
And he doesn't
restarts. It
remember. It's like-
restarts. That was the part that really like I was like, when that happened, I was like, all right, this is my favorite episode.
That
So
when it
after
got
all
to there,
that,
it was good, but I
And then
was
it goes
not enjoying
right to
it.
the beginning again.
I was not
like-
enjoying that
Right.
episode in the beginning. Up until that point,
It was just because the one chick that they kept putting back to sleep. I was
It-
like, either
no,
kill
it
her
wasn't
or
only
do something
her.
with her. She's annoying.
it wasn't only her. It was just when I was watching the episode, it just felt really like rushed, even more rushed than like a short film should. Feel like everything felt like it was going too quickly. Like it was like, boom, they're there. Oh, boom, they're having sex, and like, oh, they wake her up, and now it's like, no.
I definitely feel that. We'll get to ratings in a second. Oh, by the way, I found out the girl's name, the co-pilot
Mhm.
name, was Susie.
Kill Susie.
I remember that.
Did
There's
we
no
ever
need
get
for
the black
Susie.
guy's
I don't
name?
remember.
So
I don't think we
annoying.
ever get his
I
name.
think
No.
we did.
Oh,
I
they
think
said
we-
it at the
we did,
beginning,
but
but
it
I
doesn't-
don't think anybody really
It
cared.
doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So, personally,
But
I
if
would.
I don't know, you guys.
If I had to give this one a rating, for me, it's like a 7. Like maybe an 8 because of the ending, but up until that, it's not all that good for me.
Hmm.
So I'd say like a 7, 7.5.
This one, we're opposites because I'm giving this one a 9.5. Like I thought it was.
Which I can
really
see
good.
why, yeah.
Right.
On animation alone, it's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, this was
But
one of the ones where I was
story-
like, that looks like it's real.
But if we're moving on to the next, oh wait, no, you Hunter,
I haven't
yeah,
even given
my
a rating.
bad. Go ahead.
I gave this episode an 8.5 because I felt the same way that you did. I felt it was very rushed.
Mhm.
I felt like it was like a little, whoa, hold on a second. Let's cool down just for like a smidge. We are going a little too fast.
Mhm.
Like, oh, we're up. Then we're, because like I wanted it. I wanted to just be like, if it wasn't 16 minutes, if it was full 20, I think it would have been a little bit
It would have been better.
like, okay, we spent if we spent like another second with like them before they go through the rift, and then also if we spent another second with like a little world building in that hallucination that she was giving him, I felt it would have been a little bit more like, okay, Because from all we see, it's her and then 2 masked dudes that come in at the very beginning.
Right, and then...
So there's 3 people at the station. But I understand why she does that, because she explains in the thing that she landed here just the same as he did.
Right.
From the glitch in the drive, in the glitch in the drive that makes him jump.
Mm-hmm.
There's a glitch that like sends him all the way out beyond the Aquila Rift, and then that's why she's there too. So I get why she's there. She's like, her explanation to him. I get why. There was no writing in this thing. The writing was great. I love the writing in it. There's no writing. There's no plot holes I can stab in this thing. There's 0%.
It was just
great armor.
Bad pacing.
But it was just fast. It was like some dude in full ballistic body armor, but trying to do like a 100 miles, like our 100-meter sprint. It's like, whoa, slow down, bro. You need a little time. You're gonna die of heat stroke.
Yeah, it was just poorly paced.
Right. If it was paced just a slightly bit, like a little faster, I think it would have definitely been a 9.5.
Yeah,
definitely would have been a point.
Cool. So Logan, you want to get the next one?
Episode,
I guess I can.
The Witness.
Oh my God.
This was my favorite.
Of course it was.
Now.
Hey Logan, why was it your favorite?
No, not because of that.
For those of you who don't know, this chick ran around the entirety of this city naked the entire time.
Well, hold on. She did have a little overshirt.
Oh, shut up. She was naked the entire time.
Okay. This episode, first off, the animation, the mix of
it reminded me of
realistic,
Same.
The Spider-Verse-esque animation with the little like kind of comic book like thought bubbles and sound when they're like moving around and crashing and stuff, instantly got me hooked in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And like the end,
That was really good.
It's so good. It's similar to the last one where they kind of like repeats
itself.
Yeah.
Right.
So good. And then the part where she's in there, he goes into the sort
sex
of like
lounge.
The what?
The sex lounge.
Yes. That was extremely explicit. Like I was not expecting it to get that raunchy.
Yeah.
When she's starting, like she's dancing, and I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're really.
She showed everything but the lips. That was it.
Like full bushes out and everything. I'm like, they're pushing the limits with this. I'm like, Jesus.
I looked back at her. Let me take a look right now. It specifically says in the overview, when you first start it, it says not safe for work. It has it has it. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Just like, because it's definitely not.
It's not. But just the animation in this one is so good.
So give us the story.
The story, basically, we don't get much context other than we get small glimpses of a man in the beginning in an apartment, or a hotel rather, fighting with a woman, and then you hear a gunshot, and he's covered in blood. And while this is all going on, a woman in a apartment adjacent to the hotel is putting on makeup horribly. She looks like a skank. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
and she looks up, and after hearing all this ruckus, looks up and sees the man, and then the chase ensues after that as the man chases after her.
Ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
Making fun of my vocabulary? Seriously?
You just reminded me of like a 90-year-old man. Like, what's all that ruckus out there?
What's all that ruckus? What that
All it made me
ruckus?
think of.
But yeah, it's amazing. And for me, that one's a 9.
Because she was naked the entire time.
You just gotta can't get past it, Rico.
It just didn't seem like necessary. I don't know.
I think.
Well, the
I mean,
nudity in a lot of them is not necessary, and that's one issue I have with some of the episodes is because some of the nudity seems forced just to have it
Yeah.
to fit with this whole it's adult animation, which I understand, but it's like if it's not necessary to the story,
Don't do
then
it.
don't put it in. Like it's not. And this is coming from teenagers right here. So if we
well,
think it's
here's the thing.
if we think it's
is
forced,
If we're
then
calling it quits, you did too much.
yeah.
The thing is that with the nudity and stuff, it's like if they wanted nudity in this show, but I mean, tell me one movie that has nudity where the nudity is plot centric.
Okay, nudity is never really plot centric. It's just there's a difference between you can tell when a movie when a director is like forcing it in just to have it to be like, ooh, I'm edgy, I have nudity in my film.
And that's
You know
exactly
what I mean?
what that was.
I
That's
can
exactly
see
what that
that.
was. There was there really wasn't any necessity for it.
I think there's a slight.
The only-
I mean, obviously, it makes sense. It's justifiable in this case. I think in the Witness case, because Witness, let's be full transparent. Witness is like the most gratuitous nudity in the entire
Yes.
show, just because
Yeah.
one, it's super raunchy.
It's super
the start
up
of
close.
her being a dancer,
Super up
and then
close.
boom at the very end, she's running the entire time naked. So it's definitely the most gratuitous when it comes to nudity. But I think it's justifiable because I think it also kind of, if you might not pick up on it, if you had immediately, because it's not something I had to think about it here for a second, but it kind of shows that she's rushing, she is running, she is scared of this person.
Well, because that was her
she leaves
job
the dance.
at that.
Right. Well, yeah.
So
right.
that's why the
shows
nudity
her-
connects to the plot.
Right. It shows her job, and it also shows that one, after that job, she sees him in the audience, and he kind of gets a glimpse of her. So she is rushing to get out of there, and also to go talk to her boss.
Vladimir.
I don't remember, Nikolai or whatever. Talk to her boss to get his help, but he's all coked out and in the middle of having a ton of sex. So she just runs and grabs his gun and leaves. So she's like super trying to get away from this guy, because she's super also confused, and because she's super like, oh my god, he's a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's trying to chase her because, oh, I just killed her. But why? How is she there? I just killed her. I want to go talk to her.
Right.
You know, as you normally do after you kill somebody.
I would be a little confused
Well-
if I killed somebody and saw someone out a window looking at me that I just killed. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Well, in the ending, we see
Let me-
that it wasn't an intentional murder.
Let me talk to you.
It was accidental
I just
Right,
want to
right.
talk to you.
because they were fighting over the gun, and then it went off.
Shut up, Rico.
I'm gonna talk to you.
But yeah, that is definitely Rico stuff.
Having a theory of
But-
everything.
Right. All right. So I guess I'll give my rating real quick. Or actually, you guys give your rating first, since I'm doing the next segment.
Well, I already gave it a 9, so
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay, I'll give yours.
I give it an 8.5.
Man,
I'm not in
I-
it for the nudity, Logan.
Well, no.
I just loved the.
I gave.
Go ahead.
nudity.
Rick, Go ahead. Hunter.
I was gonna give my rating. I was just gonna say I gave it a 7. I liked it a lot. I liked the obviously boobs in my face the entire episode. It's like, well, I couldn't give it a I didn't, let's just say I didn't give a point. I didn't dock a point. All right.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good story. I thought it was nice like that. I thought also one thing I don't think throughout the entire show. I mean, obviously there's points where yes it is, but this episode had amazing audio mixing. Amazing. Like there's a point where they're in an alleyway, and if there was just a normal, and the camera was close up to him. If any normal thing, if someone went like it would just be but this one had echo, and it had like Doppler effect because they ran past the camera, and like when he in the very beginning when he first like sees that she's like there and he runs out of his apartment, the camera's like right outside the doorway, facing the door he goes through, and when he runs by the camera, it shakes. It's like that right there immediately bumped it up like that 2 points from 5. But like the story was good and all that. but it was just like one of those things where it was like very simple. It was very simplistic. And I don't know, and it's one of those things where it was good, but I didn't add a point because it was just kind of simplistic. Like, you know, you could just say, oh, someone murdered someone, chased him through a city, and then murdered the other person, and that found out, oh, the loop continues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's simple in that way of watching it. You know, it's only, you know, it's 12 minutes, which isn't
it's pretty short, yeah.
in this list by any. Well, it's short, but it's not the shortest in this entire show. But it's definitely on the simpler side of story wise. But that's why I gave it a 7. If I don't know what could have bumped it up, but I gave it a 9
because
solid 7.
It scored a 9 for me because of the audio, the animation, and the cinematography, like the camera angles, like when she gets in the taxi, and like the camera's just sitting there like on an angle. It's just so good.
It was a pretty good one. I would definitely say it's one of the higher rated ones. It's one of the ones on my list that is definitely like, you know, one of the notable ones out of the entire series. One I could definitely say, hey, this is one that, you know, I would show someone and be like, if you want to get into audio mixing, watch this.
What was the one with? What was the episode with Dracula? What was that one?
Sucker
of Souls.
I'll get to that one in a minute, but the next one in my list is 3 robots.
Oh yeah.
Long after the fall of humanity, 3 robots embark on a sightseeing tour of the post-apocalyptic city. This one was interesting. It was basically that. It was 3 robots. One was like an obelisk from Interstellar, like one of them that was like had full-on Siri voice. One of them was like an optimistic. One was an optimistic little like. It looks like the ones currently that people are trying to get like robot butlers for. That used to be an old baby monitor and it has like a screen for a face. And the next one is like full militarized, crazy robot. And each of them. One thing I did like is that each of them had their own distinct personalities. One, you know, this is something I was kind of talking with Rico a little bit before when we were just kind of discussing this before we were like full on like don't talk about this at all with each other so we can talk about it on the podcast. Is I was saying that each one of them makes sense for existing. Like it wasn't like this is a robot, that's it. Like like they kind of like there's a reason why the big tall obelisk one only had a Siri voice. It's because it was like supposed to be basically just a big calculator, is that you can assume, because it's sleek, it's futuristic, so it looks most robot out of all the robots. It looks most like information based robot. And then, you know, the one that looks like a little toy makes sense because it used to be a baby monitor. It's a family household robot kind of thing. And then the one that looks like a giant military person, you know, it looks like its arm would transform into a gun any moment. And so it makes sense why its left eye's missing, because it probably got knocked over the head at some point. And it has almost like this, like you could imagine his voice being in an actual soldier. Like you can imagine him being like, you know, in the showers slapping you in the ass with a towel. Like you can imagine.
Yeah.
So it makes sense why he would be given that, because if he was working around other soldiers, obviously they'd be a little concerned if, you know, you had full on like a Assaultron from Fallout 4 walking around. You'd be a little concerned. But they basically just go on a path walking through the whole, you know, this big city on their last stop of this big tour, and they eventually come across a cat who, you know, who jumps on the soldier one and starts purring, and he like pets it, and then they freak out because obviously they're robots and they're dumb, and they say, oh no, it's gonna explode now, you activated it. So then they have to carry this cat through the whole way, and eventually they end up their final part of the tour. They end up at a giant warhead in the middle of the city that's like set up to launch, or at least it looks that way. And they drop the cat's like kind of walking on the ground with them now, and they kind of start sitting there and pondering how the humans died out, because they're just the whole time they're talking about human invention and in humans in the past tense, obviously, because they're dead. So they kind of are walking away, and the one robot, after talking about this, goes, oh, so it wasn't war, 'cause it was pollution, their ignorance to the environment, which killed them. And they go, sorta. But it was also, once they genetically engineered their cats to have opposable thumbs, that kind of was the end of them. And then the cat from behind them starts talking. It's like, yeah, when we started being able to open our own tuna cans, it was definitely the end for them. And then he's like, also, so they're like, oh, you don't explode? He's like, I didn't say that. Also, I brought some friends. And then the war robot turns on his night vision, or thermal vision, and sees like 1,000 cats around them, and they're like, you better pet us forever. And that's the end of the episode. So, this episode was definitely probably one of the most comedy-centric ones. It was definitely one of the ones that was more about cracking jokes or dark humor. Like, why did the entire human race die? It's like, it's definitely it's definitely more focused on the dark humor side. There wasn't really anything, I don't think there was really any, like, horrible, like, life-shattering fear in this one. It was definitely just focused on...
it was comedic.
Yeah, for me, this was my second episode, so...
It threw me for a
loop.
After the first episode, because, like, I didn't know, like, the format of the show, so I was like, okay, this is something about, like, monster fighting or something. Second episode starts, and I'm just like, what happened? It's like, did Netflix change the show on me? It was like, no, show. I'm like, okay.
Right. It was definitely, I think, because I knew it was an anthology series, so after this one popped up, and I knew it was going to be different, I was like, okay.
Yeah, after the second episode, it
definitely felt like the pendulum. It was definitely like, this side's full on, like, rape and monster fighting, and then this one's like, robots and cat thumbs.
Yeah, it kind of worked to have these, like, be the monster one be the first episode, and this be the second episode, because it kind of shows you, like, both sides of, like, the spectrum of, like, the show, like, in entirety. Like, comedic, serious, vulgar, dark humor. And you kind of get that from both episodes.
Right. So, I'll get to my rating real quick, because there wasn't really... It was a pretty simple one as well. Yeah. It's a minute shorter than The Witness. Mm-hmm. So, I gave this one a 6.5. Now, the only reason I gave it that one is because I it gave me a laugh when I first saw it, and it was kind of interesting. I just think the ending is so, like, why did it end that way? What was the point of that? It wasn't any, like, when the cats say pet us forever, I mean, the robots, I guess it's just the kind of thing where, like, yeah, I know cats don't explode, but I understand that, but it's the kind of thing of, like, they're robots. They can sit there and pet them forever. What's the... the robots come out on top on this, that. The cats will die. All the cats will die if they're sitting around just getting pet the whole time. Eventually the cats are either going to have to leave to go find food, or, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was a weird ending.
It felt like it definitely didn't... It wasn't as rounded as Sunny's Edge was, so I was definitely a little bit, like... I was a little bit on the higher spectrum of, like, expecting it to end a little bit better. But I still feel like, even watching it a second time, knowing all the jokes and everything like that, it has charm, definitely. If I can watch that thing 1,000 times and still feel the charm. But it was definitely still just one of those lackluster, like... It ended for the joke of, these robots are stuck here forever petting these cats, ah ha ha! It would make sense if it was, like... If cats in this universe were forever, like, they were just lasted forever. That makes sense, but, like, they don't.
Yeah,
They're finite beings. These robots are...
I wanted more of the one robot, like, the sleek kind of looking one, the black one, I can't remember what it was called. But, like...
A robot name.
That robot reminded me of, the one from Portal games.
GLaDOS,
yes, like, that robot reminded me of GLaDOS. And I was just like, I just want more of, like, that, because, like, any jokes coming out of that robot, those were the ones that made me really laugh.
Right, like her making, like, a plate of, like, lunch for the dead dude at the counter, and then takes his Jesus Lives On hat and wears that, like, that. Like, yeah, they definitely focused on her being, like, the funny thing. Mm-hmm. Like, being the one that's, like, the one that shouldn't be funny.
The inconsequently funny character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Like, deadpan funny.
Yeah, I think I'd give it probably like a 7. I think I'd give that episode a 7.
Yeah.
So definitely a respect. I could, it's definitely one of those things where I can see why people would have a higher rating than I gave.
Yeah.
How about you, Rico?
I'd probably give it like an 8. Just because, like, that's the kind of thing that I could just watch for hours.
Yeah, if it was definitely like a full 7-season show, I can understand. Yeah. I understand. That's the thing about every single one of these things.
Yes.
Except for like 1 or 2, which I will bring up. It is definitely, I can understand why every single one of these would be like a show.
There's a couple I like. The first one I would love to see, like, even just a full movie, like an hour or 2 movie
right.
of just that. I want that so much.
Right.
But like every single one of them could be a movie.
Right. So I don't want to pressure you guys, but we are literally 50 minutes in and we've talked about 4 episodes. So I am going to just kind of take the reins a little bit and say the episode name, the episode description, and we'll give our rating and like say exactly, not like go into a full paragraph, but just say like a sentence of like, I liked it, but I didn't, or I liked it, but there was these like this one thing that kind of didn't sit right with me, so I kind of give it a lower score. So does that work for everybody?
Yes.
Sure.
So we can kind of get everything done in this episode?
Yes.
Okay, so next episode, Suits. A community of farmers use their homemade mechs to defend their families from an alien invasion. I gave this one, an 8, because I want to play this video game. It looks like a great video game and I want to play it.
I also gave it like an 8, because it was just so badass.
Right.
Yeah.
And the animation was great too.
Yeah, definitely seemed like something like by the guys who animate those like Clash of Clans trailers.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that.
And how about you, Rico? What's your rating?
Same thing. 8.
Oh god.
Rico?
Yeah, same thing.
Is Rico gone?
No?
Oh, okay. You're just silent for us. Okay, cool. So you give it an 8? Alright, cool. Next episode, Sucker of Souls. Unleashed by an archaeological, dig, a bloodthirsty demon battles a team of mercenaries armed with cats? ? I gave this one a 7 simply because it looks like a great anime.
Yeah, I'd say about a 7, 7.5, maybe even an 8 for me, because it was just the characters and the jokes in it just hit the entire way through for me.
Right. Not the first man saved by pussy.
I loved that. That line was so good.
Not the first guy to get in trouble for eating a little pussy.
That's right. That's what it is.
Yeah, I gave it 5.
Ooh.
Why a 5?
I just like it wasn't I didn't enjoy it that much. It was just kind of like the jokes were funny, but like
it was baseline.
Yeah.
I liked the animation in it.
Yeah, I mean the animation was good and everything. It was just like
Oh, one thing I did want to add about this one is that this is one of those situations where in the show, because that's the thing about like society and all this other thing, is like there's super over sexualization, specifically on like the sexual organs of a woman, like the boobs and vagine and ace just everywhere, over everything.
I mean,
Kate Upton has to be in a bikini to eat a burger, so you have advertising. It doesn't make sense to me. So this is one of those episodes where the demon, which ends up being the Dracula, has a little peen. He has a little peener because he's not wearing clothes. He's a demon. It makes sense for him to have a little itty bitter peener. Right, but like that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it makes sense. That I was telling this to Rico also when we were kind of talking about it before. Is that that's one of those things where it blows him, like that thing makes sense. It makes sense for him to have a dick. Mm-hmm. Everything has XY has a big old peen, so it makes sense for that. So like when I see like a alien show, and none of the male aliens have any like peenor, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, how do you repopulate?
Pinot Noir.
Like, how do you have the sex? Or like when there's a movie with like werewolves in it, which we'll get to. It doesn't make sense why the werewolves don't have dicks. Like the dogs have dicks. Why don't they have dicks? It doesn't make sense to me. All right. Anyway, when the yogurt took over.
Yeah.
After scientists accidentally breed super intelligent yogurt, it soon hungers for world domination. I gave this one a 6 simply because I gave 1 point to this episode because I love the narrator and all his work. That's it.
Who is the narrator? Who is that narrator? He sounds super familiar.
Yeah, he does a lot of. He was on Futurama for a lot.
Yes,
a lot.
That's where I remember.
Maurice LaMarche. He was the narrator. He does a lot of work for Simpsons, Pinky and the Brain, Futurama, all those kind of classic, animated stuff. I love that narrator. I love his voice, and he just has that perfect sci-fi sound. So
Yeah.
that's the only reason I give it a point. The animation was all right. I wasn't expecting boobs, which was weird.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
That was
Especially because of how the
kind of-
characters looked. I was just like, huh? I was like, okay.
Looked like eyeballs.
Kind of went by quick. I was just like, no, you can't get away with that. I seen that. She had tits, but she
Right.
looks like a Roadblocks character. Like, no.
I feel a disturbance in the
Right.
force.
And everyone straight up had Jufros. Like, no one had straight hair in the entire show.
Yeah, but I think I'd give this episode. For me, it's on the lower end. I'd say a 5 because it just.
Mhm.
I liked the idea behind it. Like, it was funny, but it was just kind of eh.
Right.
I gave it a 4.
Ooh.
Detracting.
Yeah.
What'd you detract for?
It just felt like one of those jokes that a stand-up comedian says just to like try it. It's just like, hey, this might be funny. Let's try it.
Right.
It
feel
felt
what
like
you're
that,
saying,
and it was just like,
I definitely feel like that.
nice shot, buddy. Good try. Pat on the back, but I don't know
Right.
what that was.
I get what you're saying. It definitely seems like they came up. They're like, what if yogurt flew to space?
Yeah, like
And
it
then they're
sounds like
okay,
something a
let's make an animated
4-year-old
thing
came
of
up
that.
with.
It does.
So that's why I gave it that.
That makes I see your reasoning. Okay, next episode is Good Hunting. The son of a
Jesus
spirit hunter forges a bond with a shape-shifting Huli Jing. I gave this episode a 7. I definitely am not. Well, okay. Let's just say this. I think a big thing here is that I love the art style. I like a lot of anime. I'm a weeb.
Okay,
I like a lot of
weep too.
Anime's pretty good. I like anime. I like the art style. I don't mind anime art style. I definitely like the world building. This one had the biggest world building of this entire show.
Yes.
Like, it went from full-on feudal Japan to steampunk future. It was amazing. It was
So
beautiful. For the characters, it makes sense. It made sense. It made sense for, like, the Huli Jing mom wolf person to, like, exist. And, like, obviously it makes sense, like, again, with, like, the Dracula, why they're nude, because they're animals. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So everything in there's no holes I can poke in this whole thing. The governor cutting her legs off and shit, and like cutting her whole body from the neck down off because he digged machines and she was a prostitute. Like, it makes sense why she exists. And then the guy turns her back to a Huli Jing version of like of a fox, so she can hunt. But since she couldn't have done it because she was metal, she did it. He made it so she could like transform.
Yeah, like a.
I liked it. It was good. So I gave it a 7, definitely just because it was one of those episodes where it was like I could see that being a series.
Yes.
Like, I could see that being a full thing on, like, a full show on Netflix rather than just this one episode.
I gave it a 9 because
someone likes furries. That's right. I'm talking to you. I can't.
I
say
gave it
that.
a 9 because one, I love the animation because I am also a weeb and I love anime. But also because it had the most like cohesive like storyline like throughout the entire thing for me. Like, everything like fit. Like, there was a reason for everything, even for how like short it was. Actually, how long how long was it?
It was 17 minutes.
For 17 minutes, it got a great storyline, world build, like from 8, like just how did you go from like ancient like China, Japan or whatever to like steampunk like European blimps flying around? It's just like, it was insane.
Right. It was definitely cool. How about you, Rick?
I gave it a 6.5.
I'm just over here sucking this TV series.
Well, I'm the only one here who's not a weeb, so.
Right. You're definitely the least appreciative of Japanese animation.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I thought the story was
I get
nice
why
and
you say
everything.
that.
It was a really good story, and I like how it had beginning, middle, and point that like everything had to
Right.
change, and I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'm just like, okay. It was one of those where I just kind of like I watched it just so I could say that I watched it. So.
Right, I get that. All right, next episode, The Dump.
Ooh.
Ugly Dave calls the garbage dump home, and he's not about to let some cis licker take it away from him. I give this episode a 4.
Ooh.
Animation was alright. Didn't really mind it. Story was kind of dumb. Like I didn't. It just kind of felt like it felt like it was supposed to be a funny episode. It was supposed to be.
It was one of the more
episode
comedic
like
ones.
this is right. This is a joke. Obviously, there's a big giant dump monster in there, but he turns out to be just a lovable little dog. I didn't laugh a single time in this whole episode. I think I laughed once just because I saw an old dude's dick.
That's exactly
what I saw that dude's big old slopper, like the point where he's sitting there and you see behind him and you just see his big long nuts because he's an old dude. Like I just thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
I've seen that, and that reminded me of the scene from GTA 5 when Trevor pulls up his and you just
it may not be pretty, but it gets the job done.
Exactly. So this whole it was just kind of like the animation style at points was a little bit like I like the grittiness of it, but it was a little too cartoony, like to be. But like it was too cartoony at points and too realistic at points. Like the dude's like gross neck was just like a little.
I'd like that.
The realtor guy. Obviously, it was cool. It reminded me like he looked like what's his face, like Saul Goodman from Better Call Saul. He reminded me of him. Just looked like his neck fat and all that, and like just like the old guys and like there's the whole joke. Like the second they showed like the dump dude's wife was a sex doll, I didn't laugh at all.
That was not.
It was just
funny.
kind of everything just fell flat.
That wasn't funny.
Yeah, because women are not objects; they are living things that make us sandwiches. I gave it. I gave it.
Edit that part out. Edit that part out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I hope you know. I really don't care what I leave in at this point. Like,
you're ruining my joke. So just give your rating.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just continue.
I'm gonna give you a 3 like I gave this episode because you're not funny. So.
Got him.
For me, it was a 4.
Yeah, it was definitely the weaker one of the bunch. It was definitely one I was
jokes,
just like, this is kind of not
jokes
great.
didn't hit, and I liked the animation, but jokes weren't hitting.
It was like a grotesque Disney short film. That's what the animation reminded me of.
Right.
It's like, wow.
All right. So the next one, Shapeshifters. Deep in Afghanistan, 2 Marines with supernatural powers face a threat from one of their own kind. I gave this one a 10. I love this episode. It was amazing. It was so cool. It didn't feel rushed at all. It felt like I wanted to see a full like series of movies. I want full like 7.5 hours of this being a thing. Like just the fighting was good, and that's one of the things too is that like in like those overworld movies with Kate Beckinsale with like the werewolves and stuff like that. They have suits and stuff like that. They're not CG. They look worse than this thing, and they're practical. Like that, the werewolves in this looked real, but they looked realistic too. They didn't look like, how like like in a depiction of a real werewolf, or like an old English like drawing of a werewolf, They look like that, but also they look like they could really exist. Like how werewolves who are depicted like they exist in modern times have to be like this horrible. Like, they go too far. Like, it could be realistic. You can make it look like a wolf and a dude. You can make it look like
they hit that sweet spot.
And, like, right, exactly. And, like, they made it so, like, I like it that they made it so it's not just he's a dude, then a werewolf. They made it so he has werewolf things while he's a dude. Like, he has the sight and he can pinpoint exactly where they are. He has the good smell. I like the addition that he had to walk on bare feet just in case when he had to change he wouldn't have to like take a boot off a paw. Like that was a good little addition. And then like
that confused me in the beginning when I seen him walking barefoot. I'm like, is this like a torture method or something? I thought they were like making him walk through the desert barefoot.
Yeah, I see that, but and then the whole scene, thing at the, it makes like at first when I first watched it, I was kind of blown back. I was kind of taken back a second because he left. I was like, isn't this dude a full-blown Marine? Isn't he full, they're taught to never leave the platoon behind and stuff? But it makes sense because there's little nuggets of him being already beaten down from being just full-on racially discriminated against for being a werewolf.
The
he was saying
at the cafeteria and the lunch table.
Right, that, and then he didn't even really fight that because he was just so worn down. And then also the fact that when they were lifting weights, the cement-filled tires, he was saying that we're fighting a war they don't even understand. He gives away little bits of saying why it makes sense why he leave, because he already was a little iffy.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to be a werewolf. He didn't want to be a full Marine. He wanted to be a werewolf.
The other one was
makes
full
sense why he would leave. Right. So I gave this one a 10. I loved it. What's your guys' opinion?
For me, I'd give it an 8. Because I don't know. This one didn't really hit for me until the ending with the amazing fight between the 3 werewolves.
Right, and they get fucked up too. He rips the bone off his arm and
the
shit.
way he kills the old one, just putting his
face,
his face in his mouth and just chomping down.
He got that big crunch.
Fat crunch.
Man.
How about you, Rico?
I gave it a 9.8. Simply because I'm angry that it didn't get a whole series. So.
Yeah, right. That's it. Okay. All right. Well, helping hand. Stranded in orbit, an astronaut must choose between life and limb before her oxygen runs out. I gave this one an 8. This one is the most realistically terrifying. A big giant spider queen, that's horrifying in a sense of that will never happen in my dreams, but I hope I never dream about that. This one is the most if I become an astronaut, that could really happen, and that terrifies me.
Yeah, this was the one that was the most grounded in reality.
Yeah, it was
and
definitely
it was pretty scary.
Yeah, her having to freeze her hand and then break, the fact that it wasn't because you immediately think, oh, it's gonna be her. She just takes it between her knee and then snaps it off immediately, and that's gonna suck.
It was initial
cracking
break,
bone under there,
and then you could see it kind of poking into the skin, and then
baby.
Yeah.
I hate and love this episode at the same time because it's just so oh god, oh, you're so cool for doing this, but God. How about you guys? What's your rating?
I don't know. I'm torn on this one because it was so short. It started and then ended before I even knew it.
Right.
I'd say a 7. Maybe 6 or 7 around there.
This is my number 10. I gave this a solid 10 because it was it was perfect. Everything about that was perfect.
Very short and sweet.
You got the timing perfectly. It was just, it didn't need to be any longer than it was, and it wasn't. It was perfectly timed. There was nothing.
Yeah.
It's just they got the perfect horror aspect for it.
I honestly, now that I think about it, I got an alien isolation or just kind of feel from it.
Not even that. It was just you really got the suspense, and then the scream. Oh, when she screamed in her helmet, and then it just panned to the shot of the earth in the background, and there was just silence. Oh my gosh!
Right.
But what really got me on the 10 was when she's sitting in her pod, and the guy's "So you still need a hand?" That I was just all right, you get it, you earned it, Chief. Take it. Chief called.
One thing I liked about it when I saw it a second time, I picked up on a detail. Before she even was before she was even when I forget what it was, but what it was is this: when she was working on the stuff, when she was just working on it, it showed her what her oxygen level was before she was even hit by the thing, and it was only 36 minutes. So even if that happened, even if she just got floated away, like without her shit even being popped, she still wouldn't have been able to get like picked up.
Yep.
Like she still, even if it was just like floating away, even if it hit like the thing she was working on and she got knocked back, she still couldn't have been picked up by the team that was gonna be picking her up in like 55 minutes.
Yeah. Man.
And that was like the most like, oh no matter what, she was screwed. Ugh. All right, next one, Fish Night. After their car breaks down in the desert, two salesmen take a dreamlike voyage to the dawn of time. I gave this one a 4.5. I fucking hated this one.
Yeah.
Really?
It was stupid. It was like the only reason I gave it a 0.5 bigger than the dump was that like I felt this one had no reason being in the show. Like it was like I get why they did it. Biggest thing for me, the biggest dumb thing is Ghost Fish. Like what the fuck? Ghost Fish, and then Ghost Megalodon.
It was pretty out there. The animation, just I loved like the Borderlands, like
that's exactly
cel-shaded.
what I was thinking too. It looked like
I was like, this looks amazing, but like the story itself, it was kind of out there and didn't really fit with the rest of the show.
Right.
For me, I'd say a 5. Because it was kind of out there, but the animation was just... It was funny though when the kid gets eaten and the dad's just sitting there staring, just like that shit was so funny to me.
That are you kidding me? A ghost shark ate your son?
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
It's kind of stupid.
Are you kidding
after
me?
After I watched it a second time, the only thing I thought about was like, what about when he gets to the city? They're gonna be like, "Where's your son?"
Had to kill
like
old Billy.
he's gonna be thrown in jail because they thought he drug him out to the desert and killed him. Like
they're gonna find all of his
Yeah,
clothes, but not his body. It looks like a rape. It literally looks like a rape. It looked like he raped his son.
Oh god!
It was just so funny when he just ran over and just started getting naked. It was just like, like, what are you doing?
Come on,
that was definitely a little freaky.
Like, because if I'm in the middle of the desert,
I give it a 2. Like there was no need for it.
All right,
no need.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
Made me mad.
I definitely got enjoyment out of it because just the second time I watched it over, I thought it was funnier than the first time. The first time I watched it, I was just kind of bored, and then the second time I watched it, I was just sitting there like, this is fucking weird and dumb. Like this is like
by the shark.
It was
another point for making it look like the dad raped him. Like that's.
It was very
that's the only
unintentionally
reason.
funny.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the.
What was
only
your
reason.
rating, Rico?
2.
Oh, 2. Right. All right. Lucky 13. After the dropship, Lucky 13 lost 2 crews. No pilot would fly her, but rookies don't get a choice. I gave this one a 7. Simply because it just so much looked like one of those live action... It's not live action, but it looked like... It was?
Yeah.
Was it?
No, it was not.
Oh, it didn't,
Yeah,
it didn't look live... It looks live action,
There's
but it
points
wasn't.
where, yeah, it does.
No,
Right.
it's live
Right.
action.
No,
It's not,
there's no.
Rico.
No,
Yes,
it's not, because there's close-ups where you can tell that it's animated.
No, I think what they did was they put like one of those cameras on the face of the lady, but it's
She's
animated.
from The
She's not
Walking
real,
Dead.
Trust me. She's a real person, Rico,
Yeah.
but they put a camera on her
They
face.
motion
and,
captured.
like,
They
motion captured it, but they didn't.
They must have face scanned her and then motion captured.
Yeah, they definitely did. Because she's in the credits, obviously, and she looks identical, but it was just the thing that they took her face and put it on a different body.
Right, because that's from Orange Is the New Black. That's Poussey.
Pussy?
It's pronounced Poussey. It's French.
I thought. Oh, French pussy. It just for this one, it was just a 7 for me because it was definitely it just made me want to play Halo rather than watch it again. Like it just made me want to go play Halo. It was just kind of like the action was alright, but it was definitely one of those things where like it was really like they just didn't explain. Like obviously it was like, oh, she didn't want to go. So was the ship like, did it have a brain? Was it like precognizant because it could hold her back before the explosion went off and shit like that? Like, what was it? Supernatural? Like, what was the shit? They didn't answer it, so it was just kind of like left for this thing of like, okay, what was it? Was it Ghost Ship or was it Robo Ship? I don't understand. It was just one of those things where it's like obviously, and then like it just kind of ends on this thing of like it blows up and like yeah, I wish I had that ship again.
Just
Okay,
she's staring
what
at
the
the
fuck?
like the tag or whatever, and then just pans out.
Right. It was just kind of like okay, that was that was just the story where it just started and ended, and by the time it ended, I was like okay, I get it.
That one by far.
But it didn't
had
blow me away.
The best animation out of all of them in terms of like the
Yeah, it
ultra
looked like
realistic style. But
right.
I'd say I'd give it a 6 because in the beginning it kind of for some reason reminded me of like Starship Troopers. Not like in the comedic way, but like just the universe.
Yeah, like the propaganda.
Yeah. Rico. Rating.
I don't really know what to rate it. I don't even know what to think about it.
So I would say like a 5 if there's like there's nothing bad, there's nothing like too.
I mean, like I
outstanding
didn't enjoy it. It was just
right. So I'd say a 5 because it's baseline. You didn't duck any points. You didn't gain any points.
It was kind of generic. Like the story,
right.
It was just like space.
It seems like one of those blockbuster movies you watch and then forget about a week later.
Yep. Yeah, it was just it was a little generic. It didn't really seem like it had anything behind it.
It had the best technical aspect. It
by
had
far.
Probably one of the most boring story aspect though. But all right. Next one was Zima Blue. The renowned artist Zima recounts his mysterious past and rise to fame before unveiling his final work. I give this one a 9. I really, really liked the art style. It reminded me of like an early 2000s guerrilla music video, and
Samurai Jack.
I like the
is what the vibe. I got.
Samurai Jack too, exactly right. And it was definitely stylized to the point where it makes sense. It would be about an artist, and I like the point it makes, where this guy is alive for what we believe to be thousands of years, and he comes to the conclusion he goes through the cosmos and shit, and he's an artist, and he provides this great art, everyone loves him, and eventually to the point where he's like, nah, I'm just gonna go back to doing he comes to the conclusion of the meaning of life is to just do what makes you happy, and for him what that was to be a pool cleaner, and he was a pool cleaner. He was also a little robot pool cleaner, but it explains that in the show. So I gave this one a 9 definitely because I agree with the message, and I like how it showed it.
Yeah, I think I'd go with. I think I'm on the same page as you as a 9. Mm-hmm. Because like just love the animation and the overall message and everything was really good.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, I gave it a 9 too.
Wow, the first one we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This one where it's a full flush. 999.
You flip that upside down, that's a 666.
Call that in a phone and you call the police in the UK.
What?
It just works out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 999 instead of 911 is 999 is the British version.
I just said, "Are you serious?" and Siri turned on.
Oh.
Hello, Siri.
Next one, Blind Spot. A gang of cyborg thieves stage a high-speed heist of a heavily armored convoy. I gave this one a 9 because I want an anime of this show. Goddamn, it the dude is full on like Ash Ketchum, like the rookie, full on Ash Ketchum, big-eyed, which was funny because the first line he says was like "fuck you," which is awesome. But then the main leader, the guy is gruff, he's got one eye, and then there's the big. He's got a cog, but it's a beard, and then the lady is full, busty, sassy lady. It was full on anime. It's an anime. That's what this show what it is, and I just want more because they're full on robots who can they can die and then become back alive. They're unkillable thieves, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But you guys go. You guys figure out what you're doing.
Rating. Yeah, I'm gonna say a 9. 9 for this one.
I
I
give it a
would-
I wonder what
7.
Rico's will be since he doesn't like
I would
anime.
definitely like to see this one expanded upon and have like a
Yeah.
whole like series more than any of them, just because the characters are so like over the top and just
Indistinct.
yeah, like it I don't know, it just reminds me of kind of like a 90s video game or like an early 2000s video game for some reason, like just funny over the top characters and just ridiculous situation.
The character designs almost remind me of like the same kind of over the top funny but yet also realistic like depiction of like Ratchet and Clank
Yeah.
enemies. Like they full on like metal but they have like but they mimic human looking, like the dude cog beard and like the guy having an eye patch but it's literally just his eye like blacked out. Like it's just funny. But what about you, Rico?
I give it a 7.
That's actually pretty high considering this is like the most anime out of all of them.
I think the what was it? The Good Hunt. That
Good
one
Hunting.
was probably the most anime out of all of them.
That definitely looked like has the most art style anime out of all of them, but I don't think the story was that anime. But I'm saying this one is the most like close with the art style and also the story close to anime. But that's cool. 7. That makes. I mean, that's higher than I thought you would give it, but it makes sense why you'd give that one. So the next one is Ice Age. A young couple moves into an apartment and finds a lost civilization inside their antique freezer. I gave this one a 7. It is the only live action one. It features live action, but it also has like the CGI of like the city existing and stuff like that. So it makes sense why it's in here. I gave it a 7 just because it was the most like there were some jokes I found funny, like the when the nuke goes off and his face is all red and he's like fuck, like that was funny. Obviously, Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Topher Grace, great actors. I thought it kind of had that kind of good it had a cool idea at the end where they eventually get to the point where they succeed as a race and like become ethereal almost, like they're shooting around the room, all that, and they go back into like the black hole and like pop out of existence for just it to restart in the morning. Like it's cool. It's a cool idea and a cool like prediction for the human race. It's cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I'm eh.
I'm more of like the
Mm-hmm.
because it just kind of I don't know. It just like the live action
Yeah.
stuff was funny because you got
Right.
2 really good actors and it kind of had like almost a sitcom kind of feel to it, almost like I don't know. But the overall of it was just kind of just
It was definitely strange.
yeah. So
Like their acting performances were a little like they immediately are like
It was cheesy.
like full on like emotional change in a line. It's like a little whoa.
Yeah.
It was just super
Like
corny.
flashy.
That's what it was.
it was
Right.
corny. I'd say like a 5 or a 6, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
around there. Probably like a 6 just for the 2 actors giving really good performances and having some good funny lines here and there.
Right. If it was like 2 different actors, like if they were just unknowns and they were giving these
It
performances,
definitely
I think
would
they were
have
bad
been way
actors. I would think they were way bad actors. I've been like, this live performance was kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah, no, I'm giving it a 0. Like I didn't.
Wow.
and-
Damn.
It was
Not
just
even a
boring.
point for anything?
No, it was stupid. Oh boy, you have a
There's
lost
nothing
civilization. No,
redeemable.
nothing.
Not a single thing that could be redeemed.
No.
Like, that could
I,
get
I
that
think
many
I don't
points.
even care if they're huge name actors. Like it wasn't good.
For me, it was definitely there's nothing I could. If anything, like the only thing I could it was like, since I go from 5 to go up or down, I only found things I could add points on. It was never really anything I really hated. It was nothing like. If anything, it was just like the one thing that didn't push it up to a 10 or push it up to like a 9 or something would just be the performances and lines were kind of whiplashy and also like there's no like world building. Funnily enough, it's only all you saw was cities being built, but it was never like outside of that. They never explained like, is this a common thing? They sound like it's a common thing. They're like, oh my god, there's a woolly mammoth in my drink. Like
they were almost. They were
never
just
make
like too okay with it too fast.
It's because
Right,
it,
it was
it
little, like,
sounded.
obviously,
It
it
even
makes sense for
sounded
them
like
to
they
be
were
okay
just
with it,
saying
but-
lines. That's all it sounded like, which is why.
Yeah, I get
Right,
what
That's
you.
something
that's what
I feel that.
I
yeah.
deducted. It was just like the lines were too liney.
Like, you could, it
just
felt like
you
they were
could
just
tell they
reading
were
from a
reading
script.
from a script. Like that's it,
Right.
and like it just wasn't good. Because what's gonna
seemed like
happen?
they were like,
What's gonna happen? Oh boy, they check in the morning and they're starting all over again. Okay, that can happen like a dozen more times. It's just a repetitive thing, and it just wasn't good.
all right, I get your reasoning.
There is a lot of that
so-
throughout the series of just like a lot of things like starting and then starting over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense why that would be scary, because people are, there's always there's that social fear of being stuck in a rut. You don't want to be, doing the same thing over and over until you die. I understand why that's like a big fear that people have, and I understand why it's in here, because it's mainly a fear show. So the next one is alternate history.
Oh my God.
Want to see Hitler die in a variety of comically fantastic ways? Now you can! Welcome to Multiversity. I gave this one an 8 because I found it probably the funniest out of all of these things.
This one
Oh,
was
yeah.
an 8 because it was just
Like, it was just so, like, the whole thing of, like, it was, like, just seeing it go over and over again of just different possibilities is, like, one of those things where, obviously, you sit in the shower and argue about, have an argument, like, with all the great comebacks you had, like 2 years ago. Like, it doesn't make... So, like, for that to be in the show and make sense for that and be, like, a real thing is hilarious. Like, having Hitler step on the girl, or, like, the little boy or whatever, who has... I didn't notice this, but on the second time, is Jewish.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then 2 buff Jew guys come over and beat him up, which is the funniest thing in the world. And then go into depth on how that would change history is awesome. Like, like that whole... Like, I think the funniest part was just him... Like, all the ladies, like,
Oh
and he gets,
my
like, the
God,
death,
that
he
was
gets, like, his life force
hilarious.
sucked out his dick. And then the fact that you find out one of them was,
A
like,
dude,
transsexual
yeah.
and straight up as a dude. Oh, it was so funny! It was just so like, and then, like, they turn into, like, these deities, and, like, his skirt flies up, and all you just see his dick flapping in the wind. Oh, it was so funny! And the art style was great, and, like, the whole, like, jello drop thing was so funny. And, like, I paused it. Do you remember when that thing happens where he touches his, like, future self?
Yeah.
And, like, the universe,
Yeah.
like, stops,
Sorry,
but then it's
we
the
have
blue
to
screen.
restart.
I stopped to read that. That is that's the funniest part of the episode.
Wait,
It's like the computer, when it goes blue screen, it's not just normal blue screen text. It's like they customize it so it says something, and it's literally like, "Good job, you fucking idiot! You blue screened me, you... Oh my god!" And it's like a computer talking to the person using the computer. It's so funny. They're like, "Here's your options, dumbass." Like, it's so... Like, you could either restart me and lose all your progress, or you can not restart me and go talk to every single dude in the city to come fix me. Yes, every single dude. He's like, and it's just like, I've got all time of the day.
tough
Like,
titties,
come
but
on.
if you're into
Yeah.
downloading weird online gifs.
It's you guys. I recommend everyone to go read that shit. That's the funniest thing I've ever
That's
seen.
nice.
Rico, what was your rating?
That one I gave like a 9.8.
Yeah, good. That was it was so good.
Yeah, definitely an 8, like 8 or 9.
And like the end, how they end every segment with who landed on the moon.
That was so
Like
funny.
the squid one,
Vladimir
like
Putin.
2,007,000. You have the first real man on the moon. Ah! that had me dying. The first real man on the moon.
Real
Oh
man.
my god, that's so funny. In 1988. Ugh. All right, now the final one. The Secret War.
Oh.
Elite units of the Red Army fight an unholy evil deep in the ancient forests of Serbia, aka Call of Duty Zombies. I gave this one a 7.5 simply because it just felt like Call of Duty. I just felt like I was sitting there playing Call of Duty, 3 years ago, playing like Black Ops. Like it just felt like straight up like, oh, because Call of Duty, and then you have the Russian, and then you have the zombie dogs and shit like that. It just felt like that. And then the ending, I felt it ended good. I felt like from beginning to end kind of was like a little... It was alright. The animation was alright. It was good. It was one of the more it was obviously one of the more realistic ones. I just kind of felt this thing of they never explain the demons.
Yeah, they do.
They never explain the. How do they explain it?
They explained it with the.
Oh right, they do. Sorry. They explain it. It's a demon from the holy depths because they try to get him to help end World War II or whatever, or help end World War One actually. But so it's like that makes sense. But like it was just one that came through. So like, do they just like meiosis? They just like.
It wasn't one that came
and then
through.
There's two.
It was multiple.
Oh, God damn it! I keep forgetting this one. I watched it when I was super tired. So.
Yeah.
Right, so then that, and then, it makes sense, and then, like, there's that really big one that they find, and they blow up, and then, it was cool, and then, like, it was cool to see, like, the planes come over and start dropping nukes, and, like, you know, napalm and shit, and killing them all. It was alright, it just wasn't anything that, like, blew my mind.
Yeah, this one gave me, you got Call of Duty vibes. Do you know Metro, like the Metro series?
Yeah, that
this
too,
is
since it takes place in Russia.
Definitely, like, a Metro Exodus like vibe, like with the demons and everything. Even how the demons look are similar to how they look in the Metro games.
Right.
But I'm torn on this one. I'm gonna say 8.
Okay. Cool. So Rico's a 10.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna be. He was talking about this one so much when I was talking about like the other ones, like Sonny's Edge and all that shit. He was like, "Secret War, dude."
Yeah, I loved Secret War, dude. That was a 10 for me.
Why was it a 10? I want to know. What'd you find?
Just because like I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming. I didn't know they were fighting aliens until like they popped.
They're not fighting aliens. They're fighting demons.
Well, who cares? Either way, I didn't see that coming, and I really liked that they killed everybody at the end. So, except for the one guy.
Everyone but one. His son got away.
Yeah. The scene though, where like the whole ground falls in, and it's just like the hive or whatever. I love that scene.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Right.
That is badass.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like the last level to like a Call of Duty Zombies campaign. It definitely was like one of those things where it's like, you know, they're gonna like it was like straight up one of those like Halo Reach ending last level, you know, objective.
It played out like an
shit.
ending, like level to like a video game.
Right. Yeah, it definitely did. Where it's like, yeah, everyone died, but you know, the villain got their comeuppance.
Yeah.
It was good. It was definitely good. It would. I would never. I would blow my mind if someone gave it something below a 5. Like or even a 5. It would be like, I don't see that.
I don't think you.
Animation alone gets it to a 7.
Up there. Right. Like yeah. I definitely get it why someone would have like a 7. I gave it a 7.5. Just saying.
Like a 7 or a 6.
Above
but
a 7.
If you say this is like a 5 or below, like I don't see that.
It was definitely enjoyable. It was definitely like one of those. It was definitely one where I wasn't bored and I had fun and it was cool and like, you know, all the last end fight on the hill was cool and like the dude slamming the thing at the very end of kamikaze himself to at least give somewhat of a dent. And like the final one where they're all like later in the like when the sun rising and all that, like they're walking around with like dudes' hands in their arms and they're just beasts. They're just horrible beasts. So it feels good for them to be all blown up at the end, and then
the planes come in. That was a nice.
But that's the thing is that like that ending never gave me. It didn't give me the feeling that was like they killed all of them. It didn't give me that feeling.
No.
Yeah, that's what I liked. It was
definitely
about
like one of those things where. Right. It definitely felt like it felt like sequel bait for like a video game.
Yeah, it did feel like a sequel bait.
I'd
like,
play
ooh,
that
did
video
they all
game.
die?
Right. Yeah, it was definitely. My overall thoughts on the series is I want a season 2 today. I want it now. I don't want to wait any longer.
As a whole, like all of them lumped together, I give the entire series an 8, as an entirety.
Mm-hmm.
I give the entire thing an 8.
I think the entirety of this entire show, at least season 1, would be a good 9 for me. Simply because there's only 2 episodes in this one I can definitively say were less than good. They were less than baseline, like, they were bad. I wouldn't say they were just less than good. Every other one, like every single one, seriously, is above a 5. Other than The Dump and Fish Night, every single other one is above a 5. I don't have a single 5 on my sheet. None of them were. It was either good, really good, or meh. There was never any like.
Yeah, there was nothing that was completely.
This is kind of not good, not bad. Exactly. There's nothing that was like. At least for me, there's no zeros. For me, in this whole thing, there's no zeros. Rico can have a 0 if he wants, but for me, I would definitely give it a 9, just overall, because there's those episodes that are 4s. And like 3s and 0s or whatever, they're just forgettable. They're just completely like, who cares? Let's think about Sonny's Edge. Let's think about The Secret War. Let's sit here and think about Beyond the Aquila Rift and Helping Hand. Those are baseline. Like, I want those shows to be picked up, like Shapeshifters. Like, I want those shows to be picked up and given to a person, like given to the people who made them, and I want them to be made into full shows, and I want them now.
Yeah, full movies.
I want to bang on my desk.
About this whole series was that. It seemed to me like it was something that was like testing the water.
Promos.
Yeah, like whichever one of these episodes gets the best review is like that we could make a show out of that,
Yeah.
That would definitely be interesting. I don't know how good those shows would be, because they definitely seem like they came up with a good idea and then made them to a 16-minute thing.
Yeah.
Very nice and compact. I definitely want shows of them. Like, I really want a show of fucking Sonny's Edge. That show seems like it could go on for, or even a movie.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, if Alita Battle Angel could get a movie, Sonny's Edge could get a movie.
Yeah.
Shapeshifters could get a movie. If that movie can get a movie, then I believe in anything. Really.
Yeah.
It definitely
So
was pretty good.
We're getting to about an hour 30, which is what we wanted to hit, so, I think we better wind it down now. This is definitely just the Love, Death, and Robots episode. So
yeah, go.
But I don't mind that. It's definitely worth an entire podcast just to talk about the show. The show was amazing.
And we didn't even go too in depth into each episode. There was so much
we
more
had to
we
really
could have
start
talked about
moving it.
Each episode.
Right. So if you for some reason listened to this entire thing and still haven't seen it, and are still wanting to see it, go see it. Even if you don't want to see it, go watch it. There's more to this show than we could ever even describe in words if this episode was 20 hours long. So there's definitely things you'll still get out of it. I still got stuff after watching it for a second time, and I knew every episode. So there's still value in it if you did just sit here and listen to us talk about it. So definitely go watch it. I recommend it 100%. Go watch it.
Yeah, it was really good. I liked it.
Definitely. So I guess everyone just kind of plugged their stuff now.
Yeah. Well, it's the same as always. I don't think anybody's changed
that's
anything. I'll end up putting it up on the screen. But thank you to all who've kept watching with us or kept listening to us for the last couple episodes. We appreciate it very much, very much.
Very much.
Very much.
Like, subscribe, all that shit. Ding our dong.
One thing I do want to add as well is for anybody listening now, have my own personal channel. It is called Voidish Productions.
Oh God!
I'm going to start uploading on there now. Starting now, it's been a year-long hiatus. I got rid of the old videos. I'm uploading a new video in 2 days after recording this on the Wednesday, the 20th, my birthday. And I'll definitely start uploading there a lot more. So if you guys love me on this one, if you love me talking on this one, then you're definitely going to love me seeing me on that one. So go check it out. It's Voidish Productions. It's on YouTube. I don't know, Rico, throw up a fucking thing. Put the link in the description.
Yeah, just link both our channels.
Send a link to your mom. She'll like seeing, hearing from me again.
just link all our channels.
Yeah, just Rico, just do more work. I mean, what's the what do you got going on? Just fucking do more work.
You really deleted all of the videos.
I didn't delete them. I have them listed.
Upset.
Okay, I'm stopping.
Calm down.
I'm stopping the recording of audio right now.
Yeah, I'm going now. All right.